and welcome to another episode of the Heartland Franchise Guy, your insider's guide to all things franchising in the local area. I'm Blake Martin, local small business franchise owner, and your Heartland Franchise Guy. This is the place for advocacy, resources, and education on all things franchising in the local community. And it's just a great place for any entrepreneur to stop by or aspiring entrepreneur who's wanting to learn more about the franchising industry. We're going to learn a whole lot about the franchising industry with our guest today, Jay Durmaskin, who is the co-owner of Shelf Genie in Omaha and Lincoln, Nebraska. Thanks for joining us, Jay.
Good to be with you, Blake.
Thank you. So let me set this up a little bit. Jay is our guest who worked for many years in many different roles within franchisor organizations, in the mothership, the headquarters, whatever term we want to use, corporate.
Right.
We don't like to use corporate in franchising because it's not really corporate, right? They're not your boss. Yeah. It's the home office. So he worked in the home office, supported franchisees, did all kinds of stuff. We'll talk about that. And then after a long career doing that, arguably a successful career, Jay and I have worked before, so he transitioned and became the franchise owner in a different industry. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, your motivations, and your unique perspective on that.
Okay.
How about we start with give us the 60-second, give us the elevator speech on your career. Tell us a little bit about your professional background.
Well, I've worked in mostly small businesses, sales, account management, some recruiting. Of course, worked with you at Right at Home. Worked for a couple of different franchisors in the home care industry, and then I took a break from work because I was helping my parents kind of as they were getting older.
Okay.
And when I was interested in getting back to the workforce, I was looking for something where I could still kind of use some of those skills, especially in franchising, and saw that Shelf Genie was looking for a franchise support manager. Didn't matter where you lived because you'd be
so that was going to be in the home office. So
yep,
to speak.
Working for the home office in Atlanta and traveling around to help the franchises. They said it would be about 50% travel. Turned out to be about 90% travel.
It's the oldest trick in the book
exactly.
in the franchising field.
Yeah. But it was a great experience and a fun experience.
Fantastic. So, if you don't mind me dating you a little bit, how long of a career did you have in the franchising field before you transitioned into franchise ownership?
With Shelf Genie?
Well, just all together.
About
yes, I didn't warn you there's going to be
6 or 7 years in franchising, and then I became a franchisee. I started. I left Shelf Genie home office and started working with my business partner now, Nick Starkey, who had purchased the Shelf Genie franchise for Omaha and Lincoln from the previous franchisee who decided to move back to western Nebraska. I was director of operations because we had just acquired the Des Moines and Twin Cities franchises.
Oh.
He had a silent partner, and after a little while, I bought out the silent partner and became a 50-50 partner.
Gotcha. Yeah, like a whole fiefdom. Kind of
yeah, but we've now sold those two,
corridor.
So we're just doing the Omaha and Lincoln area. So we've sold Des Moines and the Twin Cities.
What made you decide to sell?
It was just too hard to manage a team and build a team and also kind of do the networking that we thought we should be doing in each local market from a distance. Even though I had my son and his family are still in Minneapolis, so it was a great reason to be up there frequently. It just was too difficult from a business standpoint.
Couldn't justify the free trips any longer. Right. Yeah. So I'm really here. I mean, as usual, you're extremely thorough because of your background in compliance and operations. So it's like you just answered 4 of my questions all at once. I think we can just go to a commercial, Dylan.
Okay.
But, I'm interested to hear more about the decision-making process. I mean, obviously, you knew a little bit about Shelf Genie from the inside.
Right.
But let's be honest. I mean, for several different organizations, you kind of made the sausage, right? Like you saw the inside of the sausage factory. It's like any organization, a franchise organization. There's good, there's bad, there's warts. Yet you still decided, hey, I want to become a franchisee. What went into that decision-making process for you?
Well, there are certainly a lot of advantages when you're working for the home office because you get to know the management team and you kind of find out their philosophy about franchising. You find out if they're a good franchisor or a not very good franchisor.
Yeah.
How much they care about the individual franchises succeeding. So I knew from working at Shelf Genie, and I had also been fortunate to have the two other franchisors that I had worked with, that all of them really wanted the franchisees to succeed. Certainly not always the case with franchising, but it was my experience. So with Shelf Genie, I knew the philosophy and the attitude of the management. I knew all of the franchisees and knew that there were a lot of good people in the system. I think one thing about Shelf Genie franchisees is they are very willing to help other people, give advice, share thoughts, share their numbers, share their information. I think that's one of the great advantages of franchising, as I'm sure you know, that you can learn from everybody's collective intelligence, which is always something that I've enjoyed and admired about franchising. And also because you have protected territories, you can talk to people who are in the same business as you, but helping other markets. And so they'll be completely open and say, this is what I'm doing, because they don't mind if you succeed. It's not going to impact their business negatively.
No threat.
Right. You're not a threat at all. In fact, they really want you to succeed, because the more money you make, the more royalties you're paying to the franchisor, and that's going to help everybody. The more marketing dollars they'll have and everything else.
High tide raises all ships,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, and of course, if you're making your customers happy, that's good for the brand that they're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, good. So I'm not sure if you answered it completely or not, so I want to, something that you pointed out there a couple of times that I keyed into was a philosophical match between the franchisor and what you're looking for. Can you talk a little bit more about what was it that you saw as a match?
I saw that the management of Shelf Genie legitimately wanted the franchises to succeed. And that might sound silly. I mean, you would think, well, every franchisor wants that. But sometimes you have a franchisor that really just wants to drain whatever money they can from people and sell territories and get money that way as well. And they're not really invested in wanting the franchises to succeed. And with Shelf Genie, we offer a product that really does help people, custom pull-out shelves, and now also custom closets. The shelves retrofit existing cabinets in bathrooms, pantries, kitchens especially. And so, especially as people are getting older, which was another area that I had experience in from franchising with an aging population.
Right.
So Shelf Genie provides products that are helping people stay in their home longer, help reduce the chance of falling, and just, you don't have to get down on your hands and knees to find everything. So it really brings a lot of joy to people because it just relieves stress in their lives, not having to dig everything out and having things better organized. But with the franchisor, Shelf Genie wanted to spend resources. I mean, that's why they hired me as a franchise support manager to go around and work with the individual franchises and help them grow their business and run things better. So I saw, a company that wanted to grow, that wanted to help other people by providing a product they could really use and would help them in their homes, and help, legitimately help communication among franchisees and help them grow their businesses. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. And to kind of rephrase that, it sounds like you could see they were putting their money where their mouth was on it. It wasn't just giving lip service to, we really care about our franchise owner's success.
Right.
By way of a new salary with you and just what they were doing on a day-to-day basis, you could see that they were investing.
I mean, you and I I think we've always been able to work for franchisors that wanted to help the franchisees grow, but we've also seen other franchisors that were really
they're out there
not as interested and just kind of in it to maybe build a brand and position it for resale or just drain whatever money they could for the time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's true, but that's why you got to be careful about the process, right? So, skipping back real quick, because I don't want to miss this, you just told me something about Shelf Genie that I never really thought of, which was the safety factor of your services. Right. So if it's aging or disabled or limited individuals, the product itself making things more convenient. Can you give me the 60-second commercial on Shelf Genie and
sure.
what it is that you provide to the communities where you offer the service?
Absolutely. So the pull-out shelves, you don't have to replace your cabinets. We put them in your existing cabinets, and we can improve the organization in your cabinets so that you can reach everything, you can organize everything, because classically, people have stationary shelves, right, in their cabinets. So with a stationary shelf, you're using basically the first half of it well, or the front half of the shelf well.
Yeah.
The back half, you're either not using at all, or it's used very inefficiently, or it's just a mess. So,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know. Yeah.
I never found a cereal box from 8 years before.
Of course not. Never anything expired or anything. Or we do have that. I didn't know that.
We got some of that. Look, it's green.
How long have we had this appliance? This would have been great to use for the past 5 years. So with pullouts, you can organize everything better. You can see everything that you have. But then the other thing is, our clients, not always, but tend to be 50s and above. And they're tired of getting down on their hands and knees, digging everything out to see what's down there. Or they shouldn't be getting down on their hands and knees, because it's not hard to get down on the floor, but as you get older, it's harder to get back up, right? And so you can lose your balance, you can trip, you can fall, and then it's going to be all kinds of trouble. So with pullouts, we eliminate that need to get down on your hands and knees. You can find everything more easily. It's safer, more convenient, and it's fun at home shows. We do a lot of home shows. Almost all the time, we have several people stop by and say, "We put Shelf Genie in a few years ago. It's the best remodeling project or the best home improvement project that we've ever done," because they appreciate it every day. You're in the kitchen or in your bathroom cabinets every day, right? Several times a day. So you're actually using it all the time. And I know we've put it, in my house, and my wife, probably a week doesn't go by that she doesn't tell me how much she loves them, and she kind of debates which one she likes the best. And a lot of times we're able to kind of not only.
I hope you don't grade her on that, but
no, not at all, not at all. And then a lot of times we're also able to increase the amount of storage space that you have in your cabinets. Not only the usable space and the accessible space, but the actual space.
I was just going to say, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say there's probably a cost saving component to it. It's sort of like reorganize before you pay for a remodel.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like new cabinets, a lot of times they might just have really a bottom shelf and maybe a half shelf up above. We're now able to make that into 2 or maybe 3 full shelves. So you're increasing the space, the actual physical space that you have.
Very nice. Great product.
It is.
Obviously, it's been around
a lifetime
for a while.
warranty, so it's it's not inexpensive, but it's a one-time purchase. You don't have to replace it after 5 years or 10 years. You just you do it once and you're done.
So one last question on that before we get back to your own experience in franchising. You've probably looked in a lot of shelves and closets over the years. What's the strangest thing you ever found at the back of a closet or a shelf? Remember, this is a PG-13 show.
I don't think I've seen this myself, but I've heard from other people they've found like rodent droppings or even maybe a dead mouse or something like that. So,
jeez.
And a lot of times we'll just see things that are packed in there that people have no idea what's there.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine that. Thanks for sharing.
No problem.
So, what's the long game for you?
continue to grow the business. About a year and a half ago, we also started selling custom closets, which we think will be a substantial part of the business. A great addition. Shelf Genie has kind of rolled that out as a pilot project. There may be about 10 of the franchises out of about 65 franchises doing that right now. And I think as more resources get dedicated to that, that business will continue to grow. It's kind of interesting because it's got, again, like I told you, the Shelf Genie, the pull-out side, it tends to be 50s and above, not always, but 50s and above. Closets, people starting in their 20s want to redo their closets to make it. It's kind of a more recognized need and a more recognized home improvement.
You kind of broaden the spectrum of your customer segment too.
Yep. And it's really not just closets. We can also do, like, if you have like a laundry room or a mud room, or you wanted to put in a workspace somewhere in your home, we can really do all of that. So kind of creating solutions in all kinds of parts of the home. So I think that'll be, continue. We've done okay with that the last year and a half. I think we'll continue to build on that, and just kind of go from there.
Fantastic. I have to ask this question. Having been a franchisor and working in compliance and operations and support, and now being a franchisee, a multi-unit franchisee for a lot of years, if there was one or two suggestions you could give to anybody who's thinking about joining a franchise or researching it, what would you lead with?
I think really talk to a good number of the franchisees to see what they think about the franchise system and the franchisor, to kind of gauge, again, the attitude of the franchisor. I think also kind of gauging how much the franchisees are willing to, again, share their collective intelligence, how much they're willing to talk to other franchisees. It doesn't mean that they're going to spend a lot of time helping you or whatever, but at least if you call them, are they interested in, giving you some of the things that they're doing that are working and some of the things they've done that haven't worked. And then also, one thing that I believe a franchisor should be doing, including Shelf Genie, better, is communication. How well are they communicating, not only from the franchisor to the franchisees, but how well are they facilitating communication throughout the franchise system? So again, Blake in Omaha is doing this, and it's really working well for him. He's been able to get a nice amount of business from doing this. So, it might be something that you want to try as well. Yeah. How much are they communicating what other franchises or franchisees have been doing to succeed?
That's a great tip. I appreciate you sharing that. I think being a franchisee myself, I kind of forget about some of that stuff and just gloss over it.
It's kind of a passion of mine, because I tried to do that a lot when I was the franchise support manager. And it's something that is sometimes lacking, with Shelf Genie and with other franchise systems too.
Everybody can always improve it.
You can always have better communication.
To your point.
In any organization.
Very true. Very true. Jay, what are you reading right now or listening to?
Well, I just finished The Devil in the White City.
Oh, you did?
Have you read that?
Oh, yeah. I read that. I probably should reread it. It's been a few years.
I just finished it. My daughter recommended it to me. For those who don't know, it's about the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago. Yeah. And at the same time, America's first recognized serial killer was in the area. And just a tremendous story. I've read two other books from Eric Larson, the author. Excuse me. One about Churchill's first 15 months or so as prime minister, and we kind of forget how close England was to
on the brink
being defeated or surrendering. And then his other book, another book, In the Garden of the Beast, about the American ambassadors couple years in Nazi Germany just after Hitler became chancellor. So, and he just has a great way, as you know from reading his book, he has a great way of writing nonfiction but it reads as beautifully as fiction.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Great books.
Yeah, it's a good one as we're recording this just before the holidays come up. So good tip. Thanks.
Yeah.
You should ask for a royalty from Larson.
I'll do
Sure, he's
that.
going to need
I'm
help
he'll-
selling
I'm sure
some
he'll
of those
offer.
books.
Yeah.
Jay, thank you very much for joining us today. One more
pleasure.
thing. How do people get a hold of you for the Shelf Genie services in Omaha and Lincoln? Just Google it?
They can Google it. They can call me. If I can give my number, 402-689-8055. They can email me, but spelling my last name is kind of difficult, but it's jdurmaskin@shelfgenie.com, JDURMASKIN.
People can rewind if they need the spelling.
And then they can always call Shelf Genie. They can look on shelfgenie.com/Omaha and call that number, and they'll get connected with the call center, and the call center can book an appointment for them. We do free design consultations, no cost or obligation. We'll come out and show you the design. One of the great things about Shelf Genie is you can buy as much or as little as you want. It's not like a car where you have to buy the entire thing. We do have people who sometimes buy it in stages as well. We also have 0%, no interest, same as cash financing.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah. Jay, thank you.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate you sharing with us.
Wonderful being with you.
And thanks to all of you for listening to another episode of the Heartland Franchise Guy. Don't keep us a secret. If you know somebody that could benefit from the information you heard on today's episode or any of the episodes, which you'll always find by searching Heartland Franchise Guy, you can subscribe, share, and follow. So please do so. We want you to share what you learn here with others who you think would benefit from it. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of the Heartland Franchise Guy, and we'll see you here again soon.